Okay, I think we're recording now. All right, so I'm going to save room for the other ones over to the right, but for now, we're doing the stipple one. So, let me grab a ruler and just section this off. Like that. Like that. All right. These are going to be for the other techniques, but this one is just for the stippling. So we're going to go here at the top, and I'll do 1, 2. Huh? If you don't have a quarter, then instead of circles, just make boxes. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Here. Let me see. What do you mean? No, that's too big. Yeah, you guys don't want to go that big. You guys want to go a little smaller. I think my quarter's too big. Okay. If I have a nickel, I would have used the nickel. Okay. Okay, we don't want these circles to be so big that it takes us days to ink in. This is just practice, so we want tiny little circles. If you can't do a perfect circle, trace a penny. I'm sure you guys have pennies around the house. Here's 4. They don't have to be so perfect. We just want something to shade in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. And 8. You can do 8 boxes or 8 squares, 8 circles, 8 stars. I don't care what shape you draw. We just want 8 little things to ink in. All right. There it is. So I'll end the recording here for those students who need to see the video recording later. All right, stop recording. So we're leaving the first one white. You guys are going to space this out like so. The next one, it's going to get a little tighter. All right. You guys got to think of this as the dance floor. This first one here, obviously, the music caused the people to space out, right? And then a slow song comes on, and then they get all tight. Oh, got you to listen that time then. I know, right? So think of these dots as molecules. As they get excited, they spread apart. And then as it calms down, they get closer and closer together. So we're already on number 4. So this should go quickly. It should not take you a whole day because I made this a small assignment. It's super small, super easy to do. This is the size of a penny. So if I put my thumb right there, that's how big these are. It's literally the size of my thumb. If you drew the circles bigger, then you're just wasting ink. Do not waste your ink. You don't need it any bigger than your thumb right there. Okay, and then we're just putting more and more dots. Do not get sloppy. And I don't want to start hearing this, because then you're not accurate and you're hitting the same spot over and over. It makes no sense to dot the same dot. It's not getting any darker. You have to aim for the white of the paper. So the only way to get the white of the paper is to slow down. Slow down, aim for those whites of the paper. This one should be about here. That looks good to me. Okay, so we're just doing a little more dots than before. Don't waste ink trying to dot the same dot over and over again, thinking it'll get darker. You only need one dot there, and then try to hit the spaces in between. And you'll see that as we go down lower and lower, it'll get harder and harder. I'll try and take a picture of this and upload it to update the Google Classroom so you guys can see what it looks like when it's done. All right, that looks good enough to me. So you can see my circles are gradually getting darker, and I may have gone too far in this one. I should have held back a little more, but I got carried away. So with pen, it is easy to get a little too carried away. There's no way I can erase that and lighten that back up. So the only thing I can do now is to get this one darker. In order to make the one above look lighter, I have to just put more dots in the one below, and so on and so forth. You don't need to lift your hand off the paper. Let your hand rest so that it doesn't get tired, and just do a rocking motion. But when I'm putting down the dots, I'm literally rocking it, just like this. I'm rocking my hands left and right. If you lift your hand like this, you're going to get tired. Right, guys? No, that's not what I meant. Don't take that out of context. That's not what I meant. Yes. I just think that your project is going to be a lot of dots, and so you don't want to fatigue yourself. Learn the technique, get it the right darkness, and you'll be good. If you don't get the technique right, you're going to fatigue yourself real fast. Okay, those of you who are in person, you're probably realizing right now, like, dang, this pen glides really smooth. You notice you don't have to press hard and the ink just runs. So do not kill your hand pressing hard. Pressure does not work with ink. We're not working with pencil anymore. You're not going to get any darker by pressing harder. You have to put more dots. If you want it to get darker, you have to put more dots. But the pressure remains really soft. Not always. We still have these other techniques to cover. So like when you're doing hair, let's say you had a dog and you're doing a dog, I would probably use this technique over here, this one. So I'm going to cover each one of these techniques, but like for skin or the surface of a car, anything like that, it'll probably look better with dots instead of scratchy lines. But there are parts of the drawing that you do require scratchy lines. Let's say in your background, you're in a wooded area, there's a lot of grass and there's trees. I would scribble those in using this method far to the right. But certain areas I would just dot. Other areas I would crosshatch. So you got to determine when and where the technique is appropriate. I'll pause the recording here and I'll come back. I don't want the other periods to have to watch me. So these ones down here are darker, and it's gonna make me tired, and I feel like I just want to speed through it. So I section it off into like little pies to trick my mind. I just tell myself, I'm just going to target this pie. Once I get this pie dark enough, I'll move over to the next pie. That way it doesn't feel like so much to do and I don't feel overwhelmed. I just trick my mind into doing baby steps. Kind of the same way we did the grid method. You can see I'm trying to get darker and darker as I go to the bottom here. All right, so that's a quick tip for you. I'm just going to take a moment and skip to this last one to show you that this last one right here is just dark. We do not need to waste our time making billions of dots. Anytime in your art project you have something that's dark, just color it in. Because it's pitch black. So I'm just going to use some circles. Yeah, just color it in. Do not dot areas that are level 8 dark. You're just wasting your energy. So I'm just going to use little circles and try to color that in as much as I can. Make this solid. Don't lose these pens too. I've had students who bought it from me and then the next day they're like, I don't know where I put it. Then they ended up having to buy 2 or 3 and it's like, man, I wasn't trying to make $3 off you. You have to be responsible. All right, this one we're not dotting. Again, we are just coloring this one in. And then when you're done, you can submit these into me. So for the record, how big do our circles have to be? They're like the size of a penny. The size of a penny. You don't need a quarter. You're just wasting ink if you're doing it that big. I'm not trying to drain out your pens here. We just want some practice, expose you to the techniques, and then we'll actually do a drawing and you guys can apply that.